Long before humans touched the stars, there was another race. They were not dreamers. They were not builders. They were predators. Their world was dark, filled with storms, but they thrived in it. They carried sharp claws, long teeth, and eyes that glowed like fire. Every planet they stepped on became a hunting ground. These predators ruled not with wisdom but with fear. They believed strength was the only truth. If a species was weak, it deserved no future. If a world resisted, it was burned to ashes. Countless civilizations fell under their claws. They were worshipped as gods, feared as devils, and remembered only as shadows. When humans first began their journey among the stars, the predators were already legends. Old stories whispered of them, stories of ships that vanished, of colonies turned silent in one night. Some believed they were only myths told to scare children. Others knew they were real, for ruins of their empire still drifted in the void. The predators never saw humans as a threat. To them, mankind was fragile prey, with soft skin and short lives. What could such a race do against hunters who had devoured worlds? To the predators, humanity was a passing meal, nothing more. But the predators were wrong. At first, their presence was only felt in shadows. Human scouts discovered abandoned worlds, broken cities, and bones larger than tanks. Walls carved with strange marks spoke of battles long ago. Every ruin carried silence, but also warning. The predators had once ruled there. And maybe, they still did. The first real contact was not through greetings or diplomacy. It was through fear. A small human vessel drifted into an unknown system. From the darkness, a ship emerged. Its hull was black as night, shaped like the skeleton of a beast. No signal came, only a voice that filled every human mind. A voice that hissed one single truth: pray. That day, humanity learned the predators were no myth. They were real, alive, and still hungry. The crew of that first vessel never returned. Their last message was broken, filled with screams. But in those screams, one thing was clear. The predators had claimed another hunt. News spread quickly. Some humans argued to hide. Others argued to fight. But fear had already entered their hearts. These were not enemies who wanted peace or trade. These were rulers who saw mankind as food. For the predators, hunting was not just survival. It was joy. They toyed with their victims, watching fear before the kill. They did not build cities of beauty. They built arenas of blood. Their ships carried trophies of bones, skulls from 100 worlds. To them, this was proof of greatness. To humanity, it was a warning of what awaited. Yet, in the silence of those ruined cities, something else whispered. The predators had ruled for thousands of years, yet their empire was broken. Their power had cracks. Their numbers had thinned. Somewhere in their arrogance, they had fallen. But how? This question burned in human minds. If they were so unstoppable, why did their cities lie empty? Why were there no armies marching in those ruins? Something had destroyed them. Something had ended their reign. The predators themselves gave no answers. They simply appeared, hunted, and vanished back into the dark. To humans, this was not war. It was terror. One moment of quiet, then sudden death. One night of peace, then a city gone. Always the same word left behind: pray. But humanity was different from the others. Where others bent the knee, humans stood. Where others cried in fear, humans planned. Where others accepted death, humans dreamed of survival. The predators believed they ruled forever. They believed fear was eternal. But deep in the heart of mankind, a spark burned. A spark that would grow into fire. A spark that would turn prey into hunters. The shadows of the predators were long and heavy. They stretched across history like a curse. But every shadow comes from a source. And every shadow fades when light rises. The predators had ruled as gods. Yet they were not gods. They were flesh and blood. They were killers, but killers can bleed. Killers can fall. Humanity had not yet shown its teeth. It had not yet revealed its will. But soon, the predators would learn the truth. The weak are not always weak. The prey is not always prey. And sometimes, those who are hunted rise to become the true hunters. This was the beginning of the end. The predators did not know it yet, but their empire stood on broken ground. Their arrogance blinded them. Their hunger weakened them. And when they looked upon humanity, they saw only food. They did not see the fire waiting behind human eyes. One day, that fire would consume them. For now, the predators hunted in shadows, proud of their dominance. But history remembers them not as rulers, not as gods, not as kings. History remembers them as what they truly were. Beasts. Beasts who believed they would live forever. Beasts who vanished into silence. And behind that silence, one truth waited. They ruled as predators. But humanity would erase them forever. The first meeting between humans and the predators was not written in peace. It was written in fear. When humanity spread beyond its homeworld, many believed the stars would bring discovery, trade, and new allies. The first colonies dreamed of friendship among the stars. But their dreams ended when the shadows returned. The predators had been silent for ages. Their empire was broken, their numbers scattered. For centuries they were like ghosts, spoken of only in warnings and myths. Some humans even laughed at the old stories. They said the predators were extinct. They said the bones found in ruined cities were only the remains of some long-dead beasts. They were wrong. The first true contact happened far from Earth, in the outer systems. A human scout ship entered a quiet sector, a place no star map fully explored. The crew thought it would be a simple mission. They thought they would return home with new discoveries. Instead, they found silence. Drifting in the void was a wreck, a ship torn open like an animal's corpse. The metal was burned, the markings unfamiliar. The crew thought they had discovered a new alien species. They sent messages, reports, scans. But before they could finish, the darkness around them moved. A ship emerged. Its design was older than anything humans had seen. Its hull was jagged, black, shaped like bone and claw. No lights glowed, no signal came. It was as if the void itself had given birth to a beast. The human captain tried to speak. He sent greetings in every language known. He asked who they were, where they came from. But no reply came. Instead, a voice filled every human mind. It was not heard with ears. It was felt like cold steel pressing against the skull. The voice said one word. Pray. That was the last message ever received from that scout ship. Their final transmission carried screams, static, and the sound of metal tearing. Then silence. When the message reached Earth, the reaction was chaos. Some leaders said it was a trick. Others said it was only an accident. But the truth spread quickly. The predators were real. They had returned. And they had claimed humanity as prey. Soon after, more attacks followed. Small colonies vanished. Ships went missing. Patrols never returned. Survivors told the same story. Ships of bone and shadow, hunters that moved too fast to fight, voices that called them prey before the slaughter. For the predators, this was not war. This was sport. They hunted humans as they had hunted countless others. They enjoyed watching fear, enjoyed breaking hope. They left ruins as reminders, trophies to show their power. But the predators did not see what grew in human hearts. They did not see the anger that replaced fear. They did not see the unity forming among scattered colonies. In every ruin, humans found not only despair but also questions. Why had the predators returned now? Where had they been for centuries? And most of all, if they were so strong, why were their empires in ruins? The answers were hidden, but one truth became clear. The predators were not invincible. They bled. Survivors told of predator ships damaged by desperate human fire. They told of hunters who fell when struck with courage instead of fear. The predators ruled by arrogance. They had crushed so many species that they believed no prey could resist them. But humans were different. They did not accept their place. They did not run forever. They studied, they learned, they prepared. The first battles were defeats, but they were lessons. Each loss showed humanity the predators' weaknesses. Their ships were powerful, but not endless. Their weapons were deadly, but not perfect. Their empire was vast once, but now it was broken. The predators could not see it, but every hunt only made humanity stronger. Every attack left survivors who told stories. Every ruin left clues. Every scream turned into anger. Humanity was learning to fight. For the first time in their long reign, the predators had found prey that would not kneel. They ruled in shadows, but humans carried light. They hunted in silence, but humans spoke in unity. The predators saw humans as fragile creatures of flesh. But humans were more than flesh. They carried will. They carried fire. First contact was not peace. It was not friendship. It was blood and terror. But in that terror, something new was born. A resolve. A promise. Humanity would not die in silence. Humanity would not live as prey. Humanity would rise. And when the time came, the predators would learn the truth. The weak are never as weak as they seem. The predators thought humanity would break quickly. They had seen it before. When they hunted other species, fear spread faster than fire. Entire civilizations collapsed after the first strike. Some surrendered without a fight. Others tried to resist, but their resistance ended in ash. The predators believed humans would follow the same path. But they were wrong. At first, humans did suffer. Colonies fell. Ships vanished. Families mourned the lost. Every attack was a reminder of human weakness. Yet instead of surrender, anger grew. Instead of silence, voices rose. Humanity did not accept the role of prey. In hidden bases and underground bunkers, survivors told their stories. They spoke of predator ships shaped like bones, of voices whispering the word prey, of hunters who killed for pleasure. These stories spread, not as warnings, but as fuel. Each story lit a fire in human hearts. A fire that said, never again. The first acts of resistance were small. On a colony world attacked by predators, a group of miners set traps in the tunnels. They knew they could not win, but they refused to die without striking back. When the hunters entered the dark shafts, explosions collapsed the tunnels. Dozens of predators were buried under stone. The miners perished too, but their sacrifice echoed across the stars. Humanity learned that predators could bleed. Other colonies followed. Farmers armed themselves with old rifles. Engineers turned mining lasers into weapons. Soldiers studied every wreck of predator ships, searching for weaknesses. Each skirmish was costly, but each one taught a lesson. Humans began to adapt. Unlike other prey, they were stubborn. They were creative. They turned every defeat into knowledge. They turned every scar into strength. The predators noticed the change. For the first time, hunts took longer. Victims struck back. Ships once considered easy targets began to fight fiercely. Hunters who expected terror found resistance. They still won most battles, but their victories no longer felt easy. To the predators, this was strange. Prey was supposed to run, to beg, to scream. But humans did not run forever. They did not beg. Their screams were filled with rage, not fear. For the predators, this was the first taste of something they had never known before, doubt. The turning point came during what humans called the Battle of Vega. A predator fleet descended on a small human colony, expecting an easy slaughter. But this time, humanity was ready. The colony had prepared traps, shields, and hidden artillery. When the predators landed, explosions tore through their ranks. For hours the battle raged. The colony burned, but the hunters bled. When the smoke cleared, both sides were scarred. Humanity had lost many, but the predators had lost more. For the first time in history, prey had not only survived, but had forced the hunters to retreat. Word spread like wildfire. Across the stars, humans felt hope. They realized the predators could be resisted. They realized the predators could be beaten. The predators, however, grew angry. They saw humanity's resistance not as courage but as insult. To them, prey had no right to fight back. They returned with larger fleets, stronger hunters, and crueler hunts. But with every new assault, humans grew tougher. They learned faster than the predators expected. They stole predator weapons, copied their technology, and improved it. They discovered weaknesses in the predators' armor, cracks in their ships, flaws in their strategies. The predators had ruled for ages because their enemies broke quickly. But humanity did not break. Humanity adapted. Humanity endured. The predators began to see a truth they did not wish to face. For all their claws, for all their teeth, they had underestimated the power of will. They had underestimated a species that could turn pain into strength. In secret councils on Earth and beyond, human leaders made a decision. They would no longer hide. They would no longer wait for the predators to strike. Humanity would rise as one. Every colony, every fleet, every soldier. It was not only about survival anymore. It was about freedom. It was about proving that prey could become hunters. The predators still believed they ruled. They still believed humanity was weak. But a storm was coming. A storm built not from fear, but from unity. And in that storm, the hunters would learn the greatest truth of all. The prey they had chosen was unlike any other. This was not the fall of humanity. This was the rise of resistance. The predators had ruled the stars for countless ages. To them, every species was the same, weak, fragile, and hopeless. Humanity was supposed to be no different. But now, something had changed. The hunts were no longer simple. Colonies did not fall as easily. Prey did not scream the same way. Instead of silence, the predators heard defiance. Instead of fear, they saw fire. Humanity had begun to fight back. At first, the resistance seemed laughable. Humans used crude weapons, old ships, and desperate tactics. To the predators, these efforts were nothing more than the last cries of doomed prey. But slowly, piece by piece, the balance began to shift. The humans were not the strongest. They were not the fastest. But they were clever. Every battle became a lesson. Every defeat became a seed of victory. When the predators struck, humans studied their patterns. When the predators attacked with brute force, humans answered with strategy. In one system, a human fleet faced certain death. The predators outnumbered them 3-1. Their ships were larger, their weapons stronger. But the humans did not fight in open space. They hid among the asteroids, laying mines and traps. The predators, overconfident, charged forward. Explosions shattered their formation. Smaller human ships darted through the chaos, striking weak points, then vanishing into cover. When the battle ended, the predators had lost half their fleet. The humans, though battered, stood victorious. The hunters began to realize something terrible. For the first time in their long history, the prey was outthinking them. It was not strength that turned the tide. It was adaptability. Humans could take a predator weapon, study it, and remake it into something deadlier. They could turn scraps into bombs, ruins into strongholds, and despair into determination. No matter how hard they were struck, they rose again, sharper than before. The predators did not understand this. They had never faced an enemy that grew stronger with every loss. They had never fought prey that refused to stay prey. Soon, whispers spread even among the hunters. Whispers that humanity was different. That humanity was dangerous. That perhaps, the prey was becoming the predator. The change was most clear on the ground. Predator warriors once walked into colonies with arrogance, confident they would slaughter without resistance. But now, humans prepared ambushes. They used terrain, traps, and deception. In one infamous battle, a squad of predators entered a ruined city expecting an easy hunt. Instead, the buildings collapsed around them, walls rigged with explosives. Snipers picked them off from hidden positions. Not a single predator walked out alive. These victories were not large, but they were symbolic. Each one proved that humanity could win. Each one showed that the hunters could bleed, could fall, could die. The predators grew furious. Their pride was wounded. They unleashed greater fleets, more brutal assaults. They burned worlds in rage, hoping to break humanity's will. But the opposite happened. The more they tried to crush humans, the stronger humanity became. A council of human leaders declared what many already knew: this was no longer survival. This was war. A war for existence. And it was a war humanity intended to win. The predators had made a mistake they could not undo. By underestimating humans, they had given them time. Time to adapt. Time to unite. Time to rise. From hidden shipyards came new fleets, forged from stolen predator technology. From training grounds came new soldiers, hardened by fire and loss. From every corner of space, humans gathered under a single banner. No longer prey. No longer victims. Hunters in their own right. The predators began to feel something they had never felt before: fear. They hid it well, behind snarls and roars, but it was there. Each hunt was harder than the last. Each victory cost more blood. And with every battle, the humans came closer. The tide had turned. No longer did humanity wait in silence for death. No longer did they kneel to the shadows. They had found their strength. They had found their courage. And now, they were coming for the predators. The hunters had ruled the stars for millennia. But the stars were changing. The age of predators was fading. The age of humanity was beginning. The predators had ruled for ages. They believed no prey could ever rise against them. They believed their claws, their teeth, and their ships of bone made them untouchable. But now, they faced something they had never known before, an enemy that learned faster than they could kill. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was becoming the hunter. The turning battles had shown the truth. The predators bled. Their fleets burned. Their warriors fell. What was once whispered in fear now echoed as a promise: the predators could be defeated. And humanity intended to do more than defeat them. Humanity intended to erase them. The war spread across the stars. Entire systems became battlegrounds. Human fleets struck deep into predator territory, using stolen technology and brilliant strategies. Where predators expected terror, they found fire. Where they expected prey to run, they found hunters waiting in ambush. The predators unleashed their fury. They brought forth their greatest ships, towering vessels carved with the bones of past victims. They summoned entire armies of hunters, each one armed with weapons forged for slaughter. But even their might could not stop what was coming. Humanity fought not for power, not for conquest, but for survival. And survival gave them strength greater than fear. One of the greatest battles was fought above the predator homeworld itself. For centuries, that world had been a place of nightmares. Its skies were filled with storms, its ground with pits of bones. From there, the predators had spread terror across the galaxy. They believed no enemy could ever reach it. But on that day, the sky burned with human ships. The predators roared in defiance, their fleets rising to meet the invaders. The battle shook the heavens. Predator cannons tore through human lines. Human missiles ripped predator ships apart. Fire and shadow clashed until the void itself seemed alive with war. On the ground, human soldiers landed in waves. They faced monstrous hunters in streets built from stone and bone. The predators fought with savage strength, their roars echoing across the ruined cities. But humans fought with unity. Every soldier knew the price of failure. Every soldier carried the memory of fallen colonies, lost families, vanished fleets. They did not fight alone. They fought for all of humanity. The war lasted hours, then days. Both sides bled. Both sides burned. But slowly, the predators began to break. Their arrogance had blinded them. They had believed fear would always win. But fear no longer worked. Humanity did not kneel. Humanity did not run. Humanity stood. The final strike came when human fleets breached the predator capital. Their great palace, built from the bones of conquered species, collapsed under fire. The hunters who had once called themselves gods fell screaming into the flames. The predators fought to the last. Their leaders swore humanity could never truly destroy them. Their last words were filled with disbelief, rage, and fear. Impossible, prey cannot kill the hunter. But they were wrong. When the battle ended, the predator homeworld was silent. Their fleets were scattered. Their armies were broken. Their empire, once eternal, was gone. Humanity had done what no other race had dared. They had erased the predators. Across the stars, silence followed. The hunters who had once ruled galaxies were no more. The shadows they had cast for ages faded. The terror that had haunted countless species vanished into dust. But victory carried a price. Human blood had soaked every battlefield. Entire cities had been lost. Families wept for the fallen. Yet in their grief, they also stood proud. Because they had achieved the impossible. For the first time in history, the galaxy was free of the predators. And it was because humanity refused to accept the role of prey. The Great Erasure became legend. Songs were written. Monuments were built. Survivors told their children, and their children told the next. Not of gods or monsters, but of beasts who thought they were eternal, and of humans who proved them wrong. The predators were gone. Their empires turned to ash. Their voices silenced forever. And in the silence, humanity stood as the victor. The predators were gone. Their fleets shattered, their armies broken, their homeworld reduced to ruins. For the first time in countless ages, the galaxy was free of their shadow. Humanity had achieved the impossible. They had erased the predators forever. But victory did not feel like celebration. The cost had been too great. Entire colonies had vanished. Families mourned. Worlds once filled with life now lay in silence. Humanity had survived, but scars remained. On Earth, the people built monuments. Towers of stone and steel rose in memory of the fallen. At their base were the names of ships that never returned, soldiers who never came home, and colonies that had been wiped away. The monuments stood not as symbols of sorrow, but of strength. They told the galaxy a single truth: humanity had faced the greatest hunters, and humanity had endured. Other species across the stars whispered about the humans. Some were grateful, for they too had once been prey. They looked at humanity as saviors, protectors who had freed them from terror. Others looked with fear. They wondered what kind of race could destroy the predators. If humans could erase the strongest hunters in history, what else were they capable of? Humanity did not seek to rule. They did not build empires of fear as the predators once had. Instead, they rebuilt. They healed. They carried the memory of the war as a warning and as a promise. Never again would they allow a predator race to rise unchecked. Never again would they kneel to the shadows. Yet, in the silence of the galaxy, rumors spread. Some said not all predators had died. Whispers spoke of hidden ships drifting in the void, of hunters that had fled before the final battles. Ghost stories told of colonies where shadows still moved, where voices whispered prey in the dark. Most dismissed these tales as fear, as the mind refusing to let go of old nightmares. But some believed the predators were not truly gone. That somewhere, in the cold emptiness, they waited. Human leaders did not ignore these whispers. They prepared. Fleets were kept ready, soldiers trained, weapons improved. Humanity had no desire for war, but they knew one truth better than any other race. Shadows always return. The Great Erasure became legend. Children grew up hearing the story not of prey, but of hunters who had become stronger than fear itself. They learned that strength was not in claws or teeth, but in unity, in will, in the refusal to surrender. They learned that humanity's true weapon had never been ships or guns. It had been the spirit to rise, again and again, no matter the cost. Generations later, the galaxy still remembered. The predators were spoken of as nightmares, beasts who once ruled but fell to their own arrogance. And humanity was remembered as the species that destroyed them. Some called it justice. Others called it vengeance. But the humans called it survival. And in quiet moments, when the stars seemed too still, even the bravest whispered the question, what if the predators returned? If they did, the answer would already be waiting. Humanity had risen once. Humanity had erased them once. Humanity would do it again. Because in the end, the truth was simple. They had ruled as predators. But humanity had erased them forever.